Uh, like I said, my dad is basically from French culture, you know, and on his birth certificate, he's white, you know, but he's French, you know. I don't say white, I say he's French. And my mom was a Shatta Indian, though. She's from Lacombe. That family's been here for maybe over 1,000 years, and so I'm part of that culture. Uh, Native American and French culture. And some people call it Creole. But my daddy said all they meant when they said Creole was that I'm a native from here. So the Indians are native from here too. So I claim more my Indian heritage just in case there's some land claims. I want my share. My grandfather had 1,000 acres in Lacombe, and the Americans ran him out of here because when the census came, after they changed the law, there would be only two races, colored and white. My grandfather said, I'm not colored, I'm not white, I'm a Shatta Indian. So they told my uncle, well then, in that case, you can't live here. The United States law said there's no Indians east of the Mississippi River, so he had to leave here and he went to the Choctaw Nation in Oklahoma. And he didn't want to stay there, so he came back. So that's why I'm still here.
What was his name?
Hmm?
What was your grandfather's name?
His name was Alcide. Alcide.
Okay.
And it's my grandfather. He had 1,000 acres there in Lacombe. And they took the land and sent him to the Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma. When he came back, it wasn't his land anymore. So we were raised, the Choctaw people understand, we're not racist, but racist people. When the Spanish came here, we married in the Spanish. So we have Spanish names, Silvas, Rodriguez, okay? When the French came, we married a Frenchman. So we have Laurent and Carrier, which was my great-grandfather's name, Carrier, French name and stuff like that. Then the Americans came, and we picked up English names like Jones and names like that. And so we're not pure blood Shatta Indians anymore. They passed a treaty to cede all the lands east of the Mississippi River to the Americans. And this part of Louisiana was not included. So we would marry those people. So in the community I was raised in, we had all those groups, ethnic groups, you know. But basically we're Indians, okay? And that they decided to call Creole because the law said you could be Indian, stuff like that. So that's the environment I was raised in, you know. My uncles were basically lived like Indians, but they're alcoholics. They had lost their land and everything like that. They were frustrated. They stayed drunk all the time, stuff like that. But my dad was a good man, and he was raised as a Frenchman, you know.
What was his name?
Martin, or Martin in French, Martin.
And what was the last name?
Terrence.
Terrence.
Now, Terrence, his grandfather was named Carrier, but him and his brother, we had all the land here. His grandfather and his brother had an argument of one taking land from the other, so he got the name Carrier and chose his father's first name. His father's first name was Terrence Carrier. You can go to the library, you see the history of Terrence Carrier. They got him in French, but this is my great-grandfather, okay. So it was Terrence, the first name of his grandfather, Terrence Carrier, landowners and stuff like that. So really we were the government here. The sheriff was named Davila, our cousins, so I'm part of the government. We were independent people. And the Americans really, for a long time, the sheriff didn't come and bother us. They would get handle the Indians, the marshal, U.S. Marshal would come and arrest us. Then when we felt more confident, the sheriff started to arrest us and stuff like that. And that law, racial law of colored and white, caused half of our family to be classified as white. and have to be classified as colored. Okay? So once they did that, that broke the family up, that broke the tribe up into colored and white. On my birth certificate, I'm colored. I gotta see I'm colored. My dad is white. My mother did not have a birth certificate. She was born like a regular Indian with no birth certificate and stuff like that. So she stayed Indian simply because she wasn't in the census. So our race was just, our tribe was mixed like that. But we knew who were kin, we knew who were kin and relatives and stuff like that. So we did fine. We were doing fine. Okay. So I was raised in that kind of environment. We had our own school. I went to my own school to 4th grade. After fifth grade, they closed our school down, and we had to go to white school or colored school. I went to colored school. It's called Slidell Parish Colored Training School. And I went there. It was, well, we had black Indians. We have Indians that were black. But their thinking, their mind wasn't, their mind was Indians, okay? When I met the American Negroes, that was a strange people. First thing I noticed, they were scared of white people. I couldn't understand that. They would put each other down. They call it playing the dust. Your mama's so ugly and stuff like that. They used curse words and stuff like that. It took me a couple of years to understand American Negro culture, inferiority culture. I didn't know about slavery because actually both of my grandfathers were slave owners, okay? But